Thought bubble, toil and buckle fat. They want to sell us potions. I'm not so sure about that. Today we're going to be diving into the very weird world of skincare. And if you've been profiled by the algorithm like me and are served ads hourly about your skin and how it might be deteriorating and how it needs help, it might not surprise you to hear that skincare worldwide is now a $186 billion industry. If that surprises you, we're on different internets and that's okay. Personally, in my lifetime, if I had kept all the skincare that I'd been persuaded to buy by these ads, I would have a literal apothecary in my bathroom. As it stands, I've been on the hunt for some evidence to see what is true about what the skincare industry tries to sell us and what might be a little bit suspicious. Now, we know that they want our money, £186 billion, but they also want our time. Apparently now, the average woman spends around 2.5 hours a week on their skincare routine. Although that same survey asking that same group of women said that 16% of them would be willing to rub their own blood on their face to avoid Botox. So I don't know if we're going to trust that particular group of people. It's certainly true that at some points in my life and among some of my friends, we would spend at least 20 minutes a day, so 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening on our skincare. And that really adds up. Not only that, but the skincare industry is targeting people younger and younger. Girls as young as 8 now have skincare routines, to the point where the founder of the popular skincare brand Drunk Elephant had to put out an official statement advising children to stay away from some of their more potent products, and places like Boots in the UK are having to roll out additional training for their staff so they can advise parents on what not to buy their children, or as they call them, younger customers. I call them minors. Anyway, I got to trying to think more deeply about this topic when somebody on the internet congratulated me on showing my skin. They thanked me, actually, for my bravery of showing my real skin on social media. To which my first thought was like, I don't have a choice. I'm literally covered in this stuff. It's skin. So given all that and that tipping point, I thought it was high time that my Lies series tackled the world of the skincare industrial complex. And oh, let me tell you, this mystery is more than skin deep. Your skin needs to be cleansed, detoxed, and exfoliated. Now, I spent a really long time researching this, and I think if I was gonna sum it up in a sentence, the sentence would be, it's already doing it, babe. It's already doing it. Your skin is constantly cleaning, exfoliating, and detoxing itself. Taking the top layer of dead skin cells off to expose the underlayer of new skin cells to keep yourself fresh and replenished. It sounds like a really good idea. Such a good idea that actually our bodies came up with it millennia ago. It's doing it all the time in a cycle, in fact, of about a month. Your body is continually rebuilding the surface of the skin, effectively exfoliating. So if you're somebody who exfoliates once a month, your skin probably looks the same as somebody who doesn't exfoliate at all. Your skin is also constantly detoxing. That's why when you get Botox, you have to keep going back to get it done, because Botox is literally a toxin and your body is flushing it out. The thing about being a skin parent is it's already grown up and flown the nest. It's almost completely self-sufficient. It cleanses, it moisturizes, it self-protects, it self-heals, it self-exfoliates. At this point, you're kind of a helicopter mum. In fact, the decision to disrupt our natural barriers and our skin microbiome with products is kind of a bit of a serious one. Of course, there are people, a small amount of people, who have very serious medical grade skin conditions, but the fact of the matter is most of us don't, and some of us who might be experiencing irritation and redness around our faces is probably because of these products. And I imagine it's really annoying for those people who are experiencing serious life disrupting medical skin conditions to overhear us going like, oh, I've got such bad skin, oh, I'm really struggling out here, when really the main functions of human skin is to keep all your organs in, cool you down, help your body breathe, and generally not annoy you, not get in the way of your life. So if your skin isn't doing that, I'm here to tell you, you probably already have really healthy skin, and healthy skin does not equal clear skin. That is what I have learned. A pimple every now and then, or a tiny bit of dryness that isn't really red or really itchy, is just a normal part of having skin, just in the same way as if you get a cold or a bit of flu, it doesn't mean that you've got an autoimmune disease. A pimple is literally the sign of your body trying to fight something off for you to make sure it doesn't go deeper than the skin. It's picking a pimple or trying to treat it with chemicals that can lead to problems, or even ironically cause bad skin conditions. I know, what the fuck? Anyway, the PS to this is that I'm sorry, but you do still have to clean your face if you wear makeup, or if, as you should, wear SPF, which we will get onto later in the video. If you have either of those things on your face, it is still a really good idea to clean your face. And the addendum lie here that I believed for about, I don't know, 25 years, is that face wipes clean your face. They freaking don't. You really genuinely need an oil or a cream to really get makeup off of your skin. And on reflection, that makes sense, because for the decades that I used face wipes, I would still wake up with a bit of mascara under my eyes and stuff and a little bit of makeup on my pillow, and I just thought, well, I've done everything I can. I was not doing everything I can, reader. So please, as a PSA, if you love makeup and you also like your skin, please take it off properly with an oil or cream based cleanser. Doesn't have to be expensive. Next lie. SPF is just for white people when they're outdoors on a sunny day. I am so sorry to tell you this, but it's also a really nice thought that the sun is always shining. If you've ever been up in an aeroplane and you come through the clouds, you can see sun always at work, never a rest day. She's always there. And guess what? She can get through fog, clouds, rain, anything. It doesn't actually matter what you're seeing with your eyes. The sun and the UVA and the UVB rays are still coming down. So if you want to dodge cancer, premature signs of aging and skin damage, I'm afraid you're going to have to slather it on. Boring. Although on the plus side, SPF is the only thing that in clinical trials has shown to reduce signs of aging. So if that is something that you are looking for, I would look less to your skincare for it and more to your SPF. The more melanin you have in your skin, there does have like a very small incremental amount of protection versus somebody like me who has definitely barely any melanin, but it's not enough to protect you from all of the scary things that UVA and UVB rays can do to you. In fact, the darker your skin, the more likely you are to not have skin cancer and skin damage detected early, because A, what we just talked about, the misconceptions around the use of SPF, regardless of what colour your skin is or how much melanin is in it, and B, because of the poor training of medical professionals who have been taught to diagnose on white skin. The number on your sunscreen is super important as well. Turns out, I didn't know this, but the number on your SPF, so like 15, 30, 50, indicates how many multiple times you'd be safe outside versus not wearing it, if that makes sense. So if you were going to burn in the sun after 1 hour, factor 50 gives you 50 times more, so 50 hours worth of protection. I think I've got that right. Oh my God, is that why it's called factor 50? Because it's to the factor of. The reason getting a higher number is really important is because on average, you're only going to get 60% of that protection. That protection assumes that you are somebody who doesn't move around, touch their face, sweat, or go outdoors, which you're going to do, so you're going to get less protection than that anyway. So the higher you start with, the more wiggle room you have to totally fail at it. So if you wear factor 50, you're probably going to get factor 30. If you wear factor 30, you're probably getting factor 15, and so on. You're also, me included, probably not wearing enough. The recommended amount for your face and neck is 2 full finger lengths, like that, just on your face and neck. Are you doing that? Because I'm not.
Oh dear, I have not been putting on enough sun cream.
Is that just a general standard recommended amount? Or
yeah.
Is it like, because you're a small woman?
No, it's not prescribed to the size of my face.
The thing that I'm most pissed off about, actually, that I learned recently, is that, you know, when you get an SPF that is supposed to be combined with a foundation or another skin product, like your foundation has an SPF of 30, yeah, that doesn't work. That's not real. It's such a tiny amount of your foundation that it's not actually even designed to protect your skin. It's actually there to protect the ingredients in your foundation, not you. So if I do have any sun damage, I'm going to blame it on the fact that I have, I'm going to say 7 years of my 20s, wore foundation with an SPF, believing that I was applying SPF. So for that small amount of SPF that's in your makeup to be effective, you would have to wear a comic amount. So Repeat after me. What are we doing? We're all wearing SPF. Yes, even when it's rainy and cloudy. Yes, also even indoors, because it does come through windows. If you've ever seen those pictures of truck drivers and their skin damage on one side because they've been riding near a window, you'll know that we need to wear it even if we're in. Boring. And we're going to be wearing enough of it. Yes. Brilliant. Next lie. You can shrink your pores with skincare. I am so sorry to have to deliver this news to you, but the size of your pores is genetically determined. It is physically impossible to shrink them, and anybody promises you that they can is trying to sell you fool's gold. Also, you don't necessarily, when you think about it, you don't necessarily want smaller pores. They're kind of really super important. They're what let natural oils lubricate your skin. You know, that thing you pay hundreds of pounds to do with fancy moisturizers. Like, your skin wants to do it, let it do it. And they also let you sweat, which cools down your skin, which helps you get less irritated and enjoy your life a little bit more. It is possible for at certain points in your life for your pores to appear a little bit bigger than your default, and that is usually caused by irritants on the skin, like, I don't know, over-the-top skin products. Weird. The ingredients in your skincare are backed by science and thoroughly tested for effectiveness. Aye, where do we begin? In essence, this video could have been 3 hours long because there are multiple #science reasons why each of these kinds of ingredients have very little evidence of working at all. Hyaluronic acid, peptides, collagen, vitamin C. By the end of my trawling, I was feeling very jaded about all of these. In essence, in the broadest strokes possible, because I am an English student and broad strokes are all that I'm capable of, most problems with these products can be explained thus. The skin is a barrier against the world. It's literally designed to keep anything that might fuck with it out. Below the surface is complex systems of effectively scaffolding that keep the structures of your skin in its shape. The better the scaffolding, the less wrinkles and the more plump your skin will look. So that's what we want to get to, right? Okay, but above the scaffolding is basically this big bad bodyguard layer that is absolutely not to be fucked with, otherwise known as the stratum corneum. Tiny problem, if you do want to improve the look of your skin, you have to slightly ironically mess with the structure that is designed to protect it. Dr. Zhu Wong, who is a pharmacist at Keele University, described it as like trying to squeeze an elephant through a cat flap. It doesn't matter how much you spend on these products, it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to get through that barrier, and if they do, they will damage the barrier and open you up to future damages. It is theoretically possible to get through. If you're a tiny little molecule, you could technically sneak between the fatty mortar between the brick cells. But plot twist, you have to be fat soluble to get through that barrier, and guess what most famous miracle skincare ingredients are? Water soluble. Now, I'm not going to take myself back to GCSE science because that was a nightmare, but even I understand that if you're not elementally built to permeate something, it's probably impossible. Don't bother. Weird. Why would you? I don't get it. Collagen, that's not getting in. That's my summary of what I read. There's no way that's getting in. Vitamin C was an interesting one because it's very hard to get into your system through your skin, but very easy to get in through your mouth just with an orange. So when I read that, it made me feel a little silly, but good to know. Skincare doesn't always look like this. It just looks like this. But Lena, you say, what about the retinoids? The retinol, the vitamin A, the magic ingredient that's not supposed to be bullshit like those other ones. I've read about the retinol. That's the only one that's supposed to really definitely work, right? Alas, earwax. I have spent weeks, nay, months, digging for any evidence that persuades me that this actually works or is in any way feasibly going to work on my skin. And the chances of an over-the-counter retinol product changing the way my skin looks long-term is at best, from the figures I can find, 10%. At best. The stuff that I could buy over the counter without prescription would be weak because it's over the counter. It's safe for anyone to buy. So because it's weak and safe, it's ineffective. You can get a prescription version of a retinoid called Tret, but like that's for serious skin conditions and it has serious side effects and consequences. It's not really something I want to be entering into as somebody who just wants the superficial benefits, not the medical benefits of it, if that makes any sense. One of the best and most thorough studies I could find into the claims of retinoid manufacturers had this to say after a very extensive inspection, and I'm going to have to read this to you because, wow. It can be suggested that, in the case of retinols, the positive, in inverted commas, trials should not inform clinical decision-making, but rather may serve as tools for advertising. Until at least one high-quality clinical trial of retinoid-containing products in the treatment of photo-aged skin is published, there is very little, if any, trustworthy evidence available to support the use of over-the-counter cosmetic retinol-containing products to improve the appearance of aged skin. Now, if the experts have dug that thoroughly and that long, and they write that salty and spicy a conclusion to their report, who am I, a mere unqualified internet goblin, to try and prove them wrong? There's also a massive problem with the kind of reports that are put out and claimed by these skincare companies. One, they're usually self-reported. If you actually look closely at the claims on the bottle or on the website, you'll see phrases like 40% of people say that their skin looks younger. They say their skin looks younger. They didn't measure whether it looked younger or not. They didn't take pictures or measurements or scans. They just went off how people felt they looked. 79% of people said their skin felt firmer. 20% of women said that they were more confident after using this product. Confident, another subjective claim. A lot of these studies lack control groups, i.e. people who were using a false cream or any kind of system for controlling for placebo effect. And the most devastating discovery in my research is that the term clinically proven isn't regulated for cosmetics in the same way it is on drugs. So something can be clinically proven if you've tested it on 1 billion people, or you've just tested it on one person, your great Auntie Maud, maybe somebody who's a fan of you. Other things that are unregulated include terms like natural, organic, healing, age-defying, age-reducing, and age-sucking. All of those, yes, you can put on your products without any regulation or checking. Good. It is truly the Wild West out there, and it kind of, I don't know if you can tell from my tingly little fingers, but it's kind of making me really angry. And actually during this video I was so confident in saying, oh, you know, all of these other ones, they might be like not that good, but I'm sure that retinol's fine, right? It's not. I've actually stopped using retinol in the course of researching this video because I realized I was being robbed. If you start to look closely, almost all of these trials are sponsored and paid for by the people who manufacture the product, right? Well, there's this absolutely fabulous journalist who's an Australian Broadcasting Corporation person called Kirsten Drysdale, bless her soul, who pulled off this stunt to test the effectiveness of one of the most popular trials companies that huge brands use, ironically called Spin Control. Yes, that is their name, Spin Control. I'm not kidding. On their website, they promise to perform studies as close as possible to your consumer's target. Not to test thoroughly, to produce the results that you have a target for, to tell you what you want to hear about the product that you have manufactured. So Kirsten Drysdale, legend, gets the cheapest litre tub of supermarket Soberline, submits it for the trials, they send it out to 100 people, supposedly their reviewers board, and the results come back, of course, absolutely glowing. 98% of people said they noticed a reduction in the look of lines and wrinkles. In even worse news, there is actually more evidence to suggest that the excessive use of skincare products like this can disrupt your skin microbiome and actually cause the kinds of problems that they are claiming to solve for you. Should we move on before I get a little bit more angry? Number 6, you can stop aging with skincare. Now this might be pedantic, but I do think our brains really latch onto the subconscious subtext of language, which is why I think it really matters. And while the bottles that we see in our Boots or our pharmacies are effectively just lying by abbreviation, what they really should say is reduces the signs of aging, but they abbreviate that to say anti-aging. But here's the thing, anti-aging isn't possible. The horrendous and beautiful truth is that age is in fact a number, and that number will continue to go up regardless of what you do. I've realized that my own fear of looking my age, or I don't know, looking older, is some kind of internalized ageism. Like, what do I think? What is bad about looking older? I think it's because I think that I've been taught that people who are older are less interesting or less capable or less attractive, to which I say, attractive to who? And like, what is the function of that attractiveness? Like, surely I only need 1, 2, maybe maximum 3 people in my life to find me truly attractive for the functions that I can cope with, which is being in a relationship with people. Anything more than that is kind of like excess. Like, I don't need those people to find me attractive. And I'm kind of like done playing this Orwellian ministry of truth towards my own face. The fact that I want to do hard things and put my brain under a little bit of stress to try and achieve things, but I'm also asking my body to show no signs of me having done that. I don't want to spend all my time inside. I do want to go outside and frolic in the fields and enjoy the world that I live in, but I'm also asking of my body that it look like it has stayed indoors for the whole entirety of my 34 years on this earth. If I take away the kind of systemic ageism thing, I know there is something else going on in my brain too. Thanks to Instagram, I have been exposed to loads of amazing and beautiful and really interesting older women in a way that traditional media had never exposed me to before, and I'm really, really grateful for that. But I realised I still was worried about looking older, and I think it is something to do with worrying that I won't recognise myself. Like, I've worked really hard to like the way that I look, but if the way I look keeps changing, do I have to keep doing that work? Do I have to recognise myself to like myself? And that I was worried, and I think I am still a bit worried, that I won't look how I feel, which is young. Like, I still feel genuinely about 22, and I'm aware that I don't look like that, and I'm worried that because I don't look like that, people will treat me or expect more of me than I think I have to give, which again needs some inner work, I feel. What do I mean when I say young? I actually mean just energetic, full of life, interesting. Nice to be around. And I don't look at other people who are in their 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s and think, well, they don't look fun. Do I? Sometimes I do. Some people don't look, some people are really scowling their way through life. But lots of people aren't, and I don't automatically think that about others, so why am I thinking that about myself? Somebody tell me what's going on in my brain. At the end of the day, I have to have a conversation with myself where I'm like, either you reconcile yourself with this abstract concept, or you do something in the real world that could potentially really harm the only barrier you have between you and all of the absolutely mad stuff that is happening in the world and in the air. And I'm trying to choose the former, because when I say I want to look full of life, I wonder why that bar is so high for me. Like, to be full of life is surely just to be alive, to be living, and I'm living, so why don't I qualify in my own head as full of life? Is anti-aging simply a code word for anti-living? If you look like you've lived more of life, surely that would literally mean you are full of life. And if it looks like I've been trucking through this hellscape and am yet still alive and even happy about it, that's not something to be ashamed of. That's actually something to be quite chuffed about. I feel smug about having lived 34 years on this earth, and a way to almost flex about that is to leave some of the wrinkles on my face. No? Number 7, skincare has nothing to do with climate change. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think we were going to get through a video without mentioning it? No, it actually does have quite a lot to do with climate change. In fact, there are 4 main factors that affect the quality of your skin: pollution, light, climate, and irritants. Roughly translated as pollution, caused by the fossil fuel industry, overconsumption, and inefficient transport. Ring any bells? Light, the abundance of which is caused by a thinning ozone layer. Climate, rapidly being altered by the fossil fuel industry. And irritants, otherwise known as chemicals, usually extracted in ways that are damaging to humans and the environment. So what I'm trying to say is, if there are problems with your skin, odds are it's not a you problem, it's an us problem. And yeah, I'm absolutely saying that your climate activism is skincare. Jessica DeFino, who writes so well on this topic, I'm going to leave her some of her links below because I think she's an incredible writer. This paragraph just absolutely blew me away. The beauty industry, from skincare to makeup to hair care, is completely dependent on fossil fuel derived ingredients. These are also called petrochemicals, and they are byproducts of oil production. Even sustainable brands. Some ingredients are mineral oil, petroleum jelly, paraffin wax, polyethylene glycol, and 3 other things that I cannot say aloud, but I'm going to put them on screen. And then there are ingredients that won't be listed as recognizable petrochemicals on the label, but are perhaps extracted from the source using petrochemicals. For instance, some essential oils are extracted using hexane, which is a petrochemical. So fossil fuels are involved in the process of creating some of these natural products. Even if it's not on the label, petrochemicals are really used in almost every step of the way. What? So Lena, you say you've been sitting here all smug, thinking that you know everything about skincare now. What's your skincare routine? Well, I use this Bliss bar. It's from Ethique. They're a very nice, ethical, zero plastic skincare brand. A bar like this cost me about 20 quid and it often has lasted me 10 or even 11 months. I paid for this myself, I swear, this isn't an ad. But they have very limited ingredients. It takes off my makeup like a dream. And the only reason I'm using it is to clean my face of makeup and all that SPF that I have started slathering on my skin after researching this video. Then if it's the morning, I use an SPF moisturizer. This is the one I use. It's about £4 from Superdrug and it works perfectly. And in the evening, I replace all of that moisture that I took out of my skin by washing it with literally any moisturizer I find as I pass through various little local gift shops and market stalls and stuff. They usually come in these brown little tubs. I don't know, maybe just in Britain, but it seems like every small business who makes skincare themselves uses these brown little tubs. I look on the back, I make sure it's got very minimal ingredients and it has very minimal fragrance, and I buy it. I've completely ejected all eye creams from my routine as well. I'm just putting a little bit more moisturizer under my eyes than I do on the rest of my face because I know it's a little bit delicate and it might need that extra bit of help to regain the moisture I took away from rubbing all my mascara off. And yeah, that's literally it. And I have been doing that with the retinol for over 2.5 years now, and I'm fine. I'm good. I'm also lucky. A lot of the way your skin looks is down to genetics. So this isn't me telling you that you should copy my skincare routine. What I'm telling you is that I'm not convinced that changing your skincare routine is going to change the look of your skin. In fact, it might actually make it worse. I'm also not against people having incredibly complicated and beautiful long skincare routines. I understand the theatrics and the ritualistic aspect of skincare that's really fun and soothing, and I don't want to take that away from anyone. I just want us to go in with our eyes wide open and not be robbed blind by these skincare companies that think they're doing something smart. So as long as we enjoy and we know what we're doing and we've researched the potential harms that some of the skincare can do to us, I'm totally up for it. Go wild. I think the message of this video isn't like, let's cancel all skincare. I think it's more that the idea and the industrial complex of skincare belongs more in entertainment than it does in a pharmacy. I realized that part of the skincare routine that I really enjoyed was just touching my face, just having that contact with myself, that time to be So I've started doing face massages, which again have no provable research of like draining your skin or doing anything good for your skin, not that I can find, nothing credible, but it feels great. And that's why I do it. I have a little bit of rosehip oil that I rub on my face every couple of days, and I just spend 10 minutes just massaging it all, making myself feel nice. And that's all it is. And I know that that's what it is. I've gone into it willingly and I enjoy it. So I think while self-touch, steady, is a really good thing, I don't think it needs to cost the earth, both metaphorically and literally. So actually I'm kind of, while I got really annoyed making and filming and researching this video, I've actually come out feeling really cheerful about skin and skincare. I know much more about the ways my body is already really self-sufficient and is trying to protect me. And I've also clawed back back a shit ton of money and time spent researching, pulling out my hair, trying to decode the back of these bottles and packets that promised me so much. And what I've realized is that the world of skincare is really impenetrable and hard to research because the outcomes are so muddy and underproved and unclear. And in fact, I've started to suspect that that's the way the cosmetic industry likes it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do you have a skincare routine? Are you going to change it now? Let me know in the comments below. I've left all my sources there as well. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, I have a podcast to recommend you. It's this one and it's this episode. I have a video to recommend you. It's this one down here. So good. And also, of course, it wouldn't be a Lean and Norms video if I didn't also recommend you a book. This is called Clean, The New Science of Skin and the Beauty of Doing Less by James Hamblin. And it's very, very good. If you enjoyed this video and you also enjoyed that there wasn't a random sponsorship segment potentially by a skincare brand dropped in the middle of it, you have the Gumption Club to thank. They are the 1.35% of my audience who tip me per video for the free stuff that I make for everybody to make sure the videos keep happening. So if you're interested in joining them, I'll leave the links below. Your skin's looking great, by the way. Did I mention? Frogsnog out. Although on the plus side, SPF is the only train.